Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf, CHULLIN and Gimel. We are holding out the top line, Amarullah. So yesterday we reconciled the apparent discrepancy in the numbers of treifas that we have, and we came up with we condensed a little bit, and we came up with a total of 18. Yud Ches, right? Chai. An animal to be healthy needs to be free of those Yud Ches treifas. Says the Gemara, today we could actually condense it further and break it down to just 8 types, 8 groups. Amar Ula, Ches mine treifas. In terms of types, we have just 8 different categories, different types of deficiencies. Namr loy l'Moshe b'Sinai were related to Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai, which are Nekuva, a limb that has a hole. It can be either the esophagus, right? Nikavaveshet. We spoke about the ray of the lung. We spoke about the dakin, the intestine. So the nekev issue can apply to many different limbs, has many different variations. We have number 2, upsuka, snapped, cut. Netula, missing, v'chasura. Netula, totally missing, v'chasura, just a bit missing. Krua, torn. Udrusa, it was clawed, attacked by an animal. Snafula, it fell off a high place, the animal did. Ushvura, some broken, broken bones. So that's a total of 8 categories under which we have all those variations of deficiencies which render the animal a treifa. Now, Ula that states merely 8, Lafuki is opposing Lakusa, the kidney that was struck, that was injured, that was disabled, which was presented by Rachish, right? The Rachish Bar Papa yesterday. So he disagrees with that because that doesn't really fit with any of these 8 descriptive terms. He holds that's not an issue. Amar Chia Bar Rafa. So under the Nekuva category, we have 8 variations. Ches treifos yesh b'nekuva. If you go through the Mishnah, you'll find 8 of them. The veshet, the krum of the mayach, of the brain, the heart, all these that experience a hole are treifa. So it's merely 8. But truthfully, if you count them closely, you'll see that it's really 9. In Taimar tests, what about the fact that we find 9? Their answer is Mara, the gallbladder that was punctured, which is counted amongst the, is Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda K'tana. It's his opinion, and opposed by the Chachamim, and he's following the Chachamim, who do not consider that to be a treifa. Where do we find this machlekes? The Sanya, Nikva Har-Keva. Okay, the intestines got a hole. Nikva Dakim. Sorry, the Keva is the Evo Mason, the 4th stomach. Nikva Dakim, or the intestines, it becomes a treifa. But not the Mara, not the gallbladder. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Daimer, even the gallbladder, Av Nikva Har-Mara, would also constitute a treifa. And in fact, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Yosef, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, that's the halacha. Halacha K'rois Rabbi Yehuda, that even Nikva Hamara is an issue. Now, the Chachamim disagree. So he's going to present a rendition of this sort of back and forth discussion between these shittas. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Yosef, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Ma yahadrulei Chavrei. What did his colleagues respond to him? The Rabbi Yehuda, who says that it's a treifa, how did they oppose him? What was their proof to substantiate their opinion? Well, we have a pasuk in Iyov, which seems to indicate that even a damaged or a dissolved gallbladder is not critical. It can still survive. Yishbech la'aretz mirei rasi. Iyov was expressing his distress. Look, his mara was totally dissolved like liquid, and experienced all those hardships, and he was expressing them and describing them, and guess what, he was still living fine and well. Iyov was still surviving. Apparently it's not critical. Amr lahem. So he responded to the Chachamim, Ein maskirin ma'aseh nisim. You can't prove anything from a miraculous, supernatural phenomenon. I mean, he wasn't living a natural life. I'll even prove it to you. He had no kidneys. And he was still walking around. Because otherwise, if you don't agree, what about the first part of that pasuk? Break apart my kidneys. I'm injured all over without mercy. Well, a person without kidneys can't survive, right? How could he live? It must be that it was a different type of situation. It was through nace. In fact, the pasuk says that when Hashem empowered this Satan to go out and strike Eiv and to test him, what does it say? Hashem says, do anything you want, but keep the container, keep the life, keep him alive. And Rashi brings the Gemara in Bava Basra. Godol tsarai shel Satan mitshel Eiv. Satan, the perpetrator of this all this hardship, was even more distressed than Eiv himself. He says, he brings a mashal, la'imr la'avda, a person tells his servant, shvar chavis, imagine, he says, break the barrel, ushmar yena, and guard the wine, keep the wine intact. I mean, it's an impossible proposition. Giving him so much sorrows and illnesses and injuries, and he can still live, that's a miraculous type of phenomenon. So you can't really prove anything from there regarding us mortals. Or animals. Okay, another halach from the same source, from the same mandamar. This relates to the liver, actually. So in the Mishnah we learn that if the liver was gone and there's nothing left, then it's a treifa. But if there's some remnants, it's okay. But the halacha follows a different shita, which says you need at least a kazayas worth of liver staying behind. Is that so that according to Rabbi Yechon, a kazayis is required at a minimum? He quotes Rabbi Yechanan that generally we follow every anonymous, unnamed Mishnah, such as ours, which has no name to it. Halakha Mishnah. What does it say in our Mishnah? You don't need that much liver left over. But nanitna hakavod, if the liver was gone, without anything left, then it's a treif. However, if there's something left, even a little bit less than a olive worth, it's okay, it's kshera. Right, they'll have a kazayas, even though it's not a kazayas. And earlier Rabbi Yechon is quoted as saying, you need a kazayas? The answer is there are two versions of what Rabbi Yechon's position was. Amiroim ninu to Amiroim, Valiv Rabbi Yechon, regarding Rabbi Yechon's opinion. The Amar or the Amar, here comes another halacha from the same source again. Mara. Okay, so we're at the Mara now, the gall, which is adjacent to the liver. So let's say the Mara shenikva got a hole, and we are going to the shita of Rabbi Yosef Yehuda. That's how we paskin that the Mara that got a hole would constitute a treif. However, lucky for the animal, the Mara happens to be lined up and backed by the liver, which runs flush alongside it. Mara shenikva v'kavod, and the liver, so smasa, is blocking that hole. Sure, that backup coverage works, and it's okay. Another halacha. Similar point. Nikava kurkavan. Now we shift to a bird, a chicken, let's say, which has the kurkavan, which is the gizzard, right, the stomach there, and it's made of a couple of layers. It has the outer layer, and the kiss is the inner layer. So imagine the outer layer experienced a hole. The kiss shaleikaim, the inner layer, the inner packet, so to speak, is still intact. So the food can be contained properly. Kosher, it's okay, because the food is contained. The question was posed, what about in the reverse? Nikavakis, the inner layer was punctured, the outer skin is still intact. What's the Allah? Toshmai comes a raya. Damar ben Achman. It's certainly okay. look, even nikav zebel is, he says nikav zebel is kosher, right? If one or the other, whether it's the outer layer or the inner layer, experience a nekev, so it's just one without the other, it's kosher. Okay, on a similar topic, another case where we have a double layered phenomenon, that's the veshet, the esophagus, which also is comprised of two layers. Amar Rava, Shnei Oreis yesh le veshet. The veshet consists of two skins. Chitzon adam, the outer envelope is red, uprimi lo, and the inner tube is white. Nikav zebel is a kosher. If one of these linings experience a nekev, just one, that's okay, because there's enough coverage. And what's the point of Rava highlighting the colors? You should know the outer one is red, inner is white. What's the point? If it's switched, you find an animal that has it in the reverse, it's a treifa, that's the wrong way. Now comes an interesting question. So, we have two similar cases, similar ivarim, which are comprised of duplicate layer, double layers. We have the kurkuman with the kiss, and we have the veshet, the red and the white. In both, we say, look, if there's a hole through and through, it's a problem, but if it's just in one of the layers, it's okay. Now let's say, listen to this, let's say both layers have a hole, but they're not side by side, they're not next to each other. The hole on the upper layer is over here, the lower layer is down here. Nikfu shneim. Suppose both layers got a puncture, but it's not next to each other. What would you say in this case? Well, it depends. The veshet, if it happened, if it's esophagus, it's okay, it's kosher. Because presumably the food would just slide down, and there wouldn't be any pressure forcing it through the first hole, and then eventually making its way to the second hole and leaking out. It's not going to happen. However, kurkuman, the stomach of the bird, which has that pressure and that movement, there we have a very real concern of leakage, puzzle. Because of the pressure, the food will find its way out of the two holes, even though they're not adjacent, they're not next to each other, but it can still leak. Maska floor of ashi, just the opposite. If anything, go the other way. Adarabba. The esophagus experiences lots of activity, very busy area. It has the food running through it, it has the trachea alongside it, there's moving, there's movement, there's sounds. Adrab reshet the achlabe, the veshet, which she eats through it, upayaben, there's noise, is moving alongside it as well. Ravach, it expands, there's gumdale, it's going to contract, the bashtale, and expand. Right? There's movement, there's activity. And therefore, zimnan de mahandazin, it can happen that the two holes on both layers will meet each other. Badi adadi, because of that movement, they'll end up encountering each other. You'll have leakage. But the kurkuman, calm area, relatively passive, that area. Kurkuman, the menach, which is sitting in its place, because the kayikay will assume it just will function properly. There's no movement, there's no expansion, the holes will stay in their respective places. And since they're not next to each other, they won't meet up, and there won't be any leakage. That was his kasha on the version that we quoted Rav Papa to say that by the veshet it's okay and the kurkuman is no good. He went, well, the other way around. It should be. Rav Acha, in fact, responded to Rav Ashi, you're right. We're going to adopt your position. In fact, this is how we quote Mishmeid Ma'azutra, Mishmeid Rav Papa Kavasach, exactly as you said. Whether they changed it or he's saying that initially they had that version. In any case, he totally agreed and concurred with him that the two holes that are not next to each other would not constitute a treif if it's a calm area like the kurkuvan, but by the veshet there's a concern of leakage. Here comes another halacha from Rabbah. Krum a scab, she'ala machmas maka, that developed due to some sort of puncture, some sort of wound. So it's basically closed up again, but it's not natural skin. The veshet enikrum. So if this happened in the veshet, the esophagus, enikrum, we ignore the fact that it's scabbed. We don't reckon with it. We disregard it. We treat it like it's still a hole. Because of the veshet's movement, it's not really going to endure. It's not going to do a proper plug. Another halacha about the veshet. Veshet ain't b'dikim b'chutz. You can't really examine the veshet to ensure there's no clawing of any animals, any holes from the outside, which is red, as Rashi says in the bottom line. As we said, the outer layer is red. You can't really discern a droplet of red, that would have developed through this wound, because it just blends into the surrounding hue. It's just it's all red. Ela b'fnim. If you want to check it on the inside, on the white side, and then you can confirm there's no redness, there's no injuries. What's the point of discussing this? Return to Talmud Bavli. So you have an animal where there is some sort of basis for concern that he was attacked, that he was clawed by, and in that case, you want to check. After the shechita, you want to check. And you can only do that if you turn the veshet inside out. So if you're looking at it from the white side, you can tell, in fact, if there was any red marks. And Rashi explains why is this specific to a case of suffix drusa, suffix that was attacked, that was trampled, because over there's a requirement of redness. Only if you see the redness, which was generated by the injury, by the clawing, by the germs or whatever, the rabies, that's indicative of treifa status, and therefore you have to be able to discern the redness, and that only happens in contrast to the white background, which you'll find on the inner side of the veshet. Okay, we have a story. Suffix drusa. There was actually a behemoth which had a suffix on it, whether in fact it was attacked. The soil committed Rabbah was brought to Rabbah. Rabbah was checking the veshet on the outside, on the red side, which a minute ago he said doesn't work, right? Abaye was sitting there and he says, well, why are you doing that? But Maru Damar, you master, you just taught us. Veshet ain't no b'dikel mibifnei. You can only check the veshet from the inside, where it's white. Afchi Rabbah batke. In fact, Rabbah flipped it around and checked it from the inside. And guess what? He discovered it was found on there trei, two kurte, dama, two droplets of blood, and vitarfa, and therefore he ruled it to be a treifa because it was a drusa. So the obvious question is why? What was Rabbah thinking initially? Rabbah Nami, the truth is that he also wasn't seriously contemplating the external examination. It was just l'chadudi that l'Abaye, who was just doing it to sharpen, to sort of challenge Abaye to see, to give him experience, to see how he reacts and how he, hoping for him to ask and challenge him. Okay, Omar Ula. Yoshav loy koitz beveshet. So here we have a behemoth where, after shechita, you open the veshet and you see a thorn. A thorn, someone embedded in the wall of the veshet, like a splinter. It's not all the way through, it's just sort of sitting there. Got stuck in the wall. Ein choshishin shema hivri. We don't have to be concerned that perhaps it actually punctured through the entire wall of the veshet and made a treifa. We don't see it, we're not concerned. Ask the Gemara, really? Ula, according to Ula, who's not concerned, why is it different than suffix drusa, where a minute ago we were very concerned that perhaps it was clawed? Because Ula, the truth is, Ula disagrees. He says, ain't choshishin suffix drusa, unless it's substantial, you don't have to speculate and have concerns. Ask the Gemara, really? So you're never concerned about any possibility of an issue unless you have it confirmed? There's the classic halacha, right? The person encounters two pieces of meat One is forbidden fat, one is permitted fat, and he ate one of the two, not sure which one, so he has to bring a special carbon, Asham Tali. What do you mean? Why concern yourself about something which you know? Well, it's a huge difference. As the Gemara Hasam there it's been established that there's Isser here. I mean, we know for a fact one of these two pieces, so it's very different versus a case where you just found a thorn. I mean, you don't know if it went through or not. Why should you have concerns? Ask the Gemara, right? Here we don't have this Chazak Isur. Another halacha, which we discussed back in Afyud. After Shechita, it discovers the knife to be problematic. There's a nick in it, a pgam. And we say that the whole Shechita is invalid, retroactively, treif for the animal's treif. Who says? Maybe the knife was fine during the Shechita. Why should we generate unwarranted concerns? Says the Gemara, it's not unwarranted at all. It's very substantiated. Hasam is yalid le'areus b'sakan. There, the sakan itself developed this problem. So you have it in front of you. Of course, it's genuine concern, but just to speculate, no. Ask the Gemara, okay, why is this different in the case of a fellow who is unsure whether he touched a contaminated item in the private domain? Sveikot tameh, even though it's a suffix, we presume that he touched and he's tameh. So why is this different than the problematic thorn in the neck of the? According to you, why are you comparing it to the halacha of Tumah Shesayachid? There's a very similar halacha which says just the opposite. If a person is not sure whether he became Tumah and he's in the street, what's the halacha? The Sveikot Torah. So go there to bring your raya that it's okay. So it must be Ella. You can't really compare any of those cases to our story. There it's not a question of Isser, like over here by the Behemoth. There it's a question of Tumah. Tumah runs a different track. There's a special formula by Tumah, which is learned from the Gemara of the Halacha of Saita, where she encountered this experience in a private domain. The Torah instructs us to fear the worst until things are confirmed otherwise. And that's the source to this halacha that a suffix, a Tumah that took place in a private domain, is treated like Tameh, and a public domain is treated like Torah. It's a whole different system, unrelated to our story. Okay, in any case, Ula maintains, you discover the kites stuck in the wall of the Veshet, hope for the best. Yosef, so this Chacham was sitting Kameder of Kanfan, Gamar, and he elaborated, he clarified what Ula meant. Nimtseis Itmar. He just meant that you found a thorn, in the esophagus, but just sitting on the surface. But if it's actually embedded like a splinter, someone embedded in the skin, then there's a real concern that it punctured all the way through. Rav Kahana responded to them. He says, no, don't listen to what he's saying. Yoshav Itmar. It's the opposite. Ula's leniency applies even to where it was snagged on in the skin. Aval nimtze, so it's just sitting there. There would be no reason for Ula to even discuss this case. Which animal doesn't eat thorns? I mean, that's not indicative of anything. The kulu chivi briyasa, all the animals out there, kaitse, thorns they consume. So merely finding a thorn in the system, that's not an issue. The issue only began because it was embedded in the skin. The question is, did it go all the way through? And he says you don't have to worry about it. Next Gemara, Itmar we learned. Turbats haveshet. So we know about the veshet, that's the esophagus. The turbats is like the revitza, where it rests, where it sits. At the mouth of the veshet, right at the opening, at the throat, all the way on top. What constitutes a treifa? What extent of injury makes it a treifa if it happened in the turbats haveshet? So we know the veshet itself, which is the place where you shecht, right? The Mishnah says even a teeny weeny puncture is sufficient to deem it a treifa. What about turbats haveshet, which is more of a stiffer cartilage, more of a stiffer type of material at the mouth of the veshet? Rav Amar b'mashu, here too, even a teeny hole is a treifa. Ushmol Amar b'ruba, he says no. It has to be severed, mostly severed. Why? Rav says b'mashu. Why? Makam shchitahu. Because he holds that you can do shchita at the turbats haveshet just like the rest of the veshet, and therefore it's comparable in terms of the halach of treifa as well. So just like by the regular veshet area, even a small tiny hole invalidates it, the same as the turbas haveshet. Makam shchitahu. Ushmol Amar says no, berubai. Unlike the nekeb and the veshet, which makes it a treifa, here it's not really the veshet, it's not the place of shchita, and only if it's cut mostly. Berubai, lav makam shchita, it's not a makam shchita, and therefore it doesn't go by those rules. Hai nihu turbas haveshet. Where exactly is this turbas haveshet? Amar bar marokva, mashmuel kosher choitchay marcha. How do you know where? It begins where it ends. He says like this. This is the test. Kosher choitchay marcha. If you shall cut the veshet in that area and it expands, so when you cut it, the cut starts like expanding. Zehu, then you know you're at the turbas haveshet. But if you go further down, you cut, it just stays as is. Skin doesn't swell, doesn't open. That's the actual veshet, not the turbats. Amalura Papi. So Papi responded to the Marla Marhachi. The Rebbe didn't say it this way. Mani, who's the Rebbe? Rabbi Abaye. He had a different definition, a different indicator. Ella. The section which, when cut, stays stationary, that is the turbas haveshet, which is a more thicker, rigid type of material, so it doesn't expand, it just stays as is. Rather, what is considered the classic veshet? When it's cut, it sort of shrivels. It's like a rubbery type of response. It just shrivels down. So then, that's called the actual veshet. Yaina, or some say Rabbi Yaina Amar, Rab Zera calls Rab Zera Malval Ata. He says that how do you define the turbas haveshes? He said that it's actually further up, almost at the opening, really, where the animal swallows at his throat, closest to the top. That's the turbas havesh that we're talking about. Maval ata comes from the word belia, the place that he swallows. The kama, how large is that area? That maval ata. Amar Avi, it's tini pochas misa'arta. It's smaller than the length of a barley. But it's a little bit bigger mechitza than a wheat kernel. Okay. Here comes a story regarding this type of shchita that took place in turbas haveshet. Hahu Torah, there was this shar, the ox, the hava livnei Rav Ukva, belonged to the sons of Rav Ukva. Now the sheikh made a very interesting shchita. He started way up at the turbas haveshet and he angled down into the veshet. So he shechted at a diagonal. He cut a little bit into turbats, but not roiv. He did not split most of the turbats, just a little bit, and then concluded the most of the shchita down in the veshet. The askal be shchita b'turbas havesh. He began cutting at the turbats, and cut at a diagonal v'gomar b'veshet, and concluded the cut down at the veshet. No, what's the halacha? So, if we go back to Rav and Shmuel, we have an interesting equation to consider. You see, according to Rav, he says that the turbats has the same status as the veshet. It's a makam shchita, right? So legally, you can shech there. Okay. According to Shmuel, it's not makam shchita. You can't shech there. So now, since it experienced a cut in the non-shchita area, it renders it a treifa, provided, according to Shmuel, you need raiv. Most of the circumference of that section was cut, which didn't happen in this case. There's only a small portion of the cut was located up there. Now, according to Rav, if there's any injury in that area, a non-shchita injury, even a mashrim in a small hole would be a problem. Okay, so what do they do? What was the psak? Amar Rava, the animal's forbidden. Ramina lechumrei de Rav, lechumrei de Shmuel. We apply the stringencies of Rav and Shmuel. But differently, when we validate the animal. What does it mean? Chumrei de Rav, we apply the chumrah of Rav. The Amar Rav tells us, b'mashu, even a small hole up there is a problem. Such as in this case, even just a small slit, and that's, hold it, according to Rav, there was no issue altogether. It was a perfectly legitimate shchita. V'amar Rav, didn't Rav just tell us, makim shchita, you can shechti, what's the problem? No. Regarding that respect, we go to Shmuel. Because Shmuel, we go like Shmuel, the Amar who says, la makim shchita, it's not a place for shchita. Hold it, according to Shmuel, a slight slit in that area is not an issue either. Shmuel, Hamar, he told us, Baruba only mostly cut in that area, which didn't happen in this case. Oh, regarding that, we go to Rav. Rav, who says, Mashu, even a small injury there is a problem. So pretty much grabbing the rope on both ends. We're taking the Chumrah of Rav and Chumrah Shmuel. Here we say it's not a Makam Shchita like Shmuel, and then we skip over to Rav who says even a Mashu nekev is a problem. That was his conclusion. Igalgal Musa. So this episode was ended up by Rabbi Abba. It was related to Matoy L'Kami de Rabbi Abba. He heard the story and the Rabbi's verdict, adopting a double chumrah. Amar Lu, he says, actually, I totally disagree. Tura, this animal, bein l'Rav, bein l'Shmuel Shari. It's okay according to everybody, as we explained, because according to Rav, you can shech there. It's not a problem. It's a non-issue. According to Shmuel, even though you can't shech there, but the injury wasn't severe enough to render a treifa. So either way, you're safe. Zilu imrulei lebreder of Yosef bar Chama. Go tell the son of Rav Yosef bar Chama, whose name was Rava, famous Rava. Go tell him he's got to pay he's got a bill to pay. The l'shalem talmud-gemara, he's got to pay the owners for the lost ox. Rashi says they fed it to the dogs, and it's all his fault. It was a blatant mistake, and he shouldn't have ruled that way. Amar Mar Breder Ravina. He says like this: Mosvina to Yufta. In fact, we came on very strong with a strong kasha. Klapisani de Rava on the enemies of Rava. Just an expression, euphemism. It was directed at Rava, but since it's going to be a very sharply worded, challenge. So he sort of masked it. He says, you can't. How could you adopt a double chumrah? We have a brisa which says, certainly we always adopt Beis Hillel's opinion as halacha. Now, if a person wishes, a person wants to go with Beis Shammai, it's his prerogative. Beis Hillel wants to adopt Beis Hillel, it's okay. But you can't double dip. Mikule Beis Shammai, Mikule Beis Hillel, Russia. Suppose you're in a situation where there are two factors at play, okay? And you're going to pick and choose. Regarding this factor, I'll take Beis Shammai's opinion. Regarding the other factor, in the same story, I'll take Beis Hillel's opinion. Even though the factors are sort of contradictory, I'm going to adopt any leniency I can get my hands on, even though they're contradictory. If one does that, Mikuli Beis Shammai, Mikuli Beis Hillel, Russia. That's totally inappropriate. On the other hand, Mechumrei Beis Shammai, Mechumrei Beis Hillel. Likewise, if he picks and chooses chumrais, he adopts Beis Shammai's chumrah in this regarding this element of the equation, and Beis Hillel's chumrah regarding the other element of the same equation, like in our story, exactly like our story. Now these chumrais are totally inconsistent with each other. They're basically mutually exclusive. They can't coexist. If it's a tarbetz haveshet, if it's a makam shchita, so it's kosher. And there's no hole, there's no injury. It's a shchita. If it's not makam shchita, which is Shmuel's shchita, okay, but then you need a raiv to make it a treifa, which you don't have. You can't, on the one hand, say it's a makam shchita, and then say, well, even a mashu like Rav, that's totally inconsistent. All of in fact, the pasuk says on him, Aksil, the fool walks in darkness. Yes, you can pick Beis Shammai in this matter, Beis Hillel in the other matter. That's okay, but within the same configuration, when they're contradictory, their definitions do not coincide, are totally inconsistent, totally contradictory, like in our story. You can't do that. It's just darkness. It's worthless. It's valueless. Ella, rather, Iki Beis Shammai, Ki Kulein Ukuchumrein. You can take Beis Shammai's opinion. Their Kula and their Chumra. Full package. Iki Beis Hillel, Ki Kulein Ukuchumrein. Or likewise, Beis Hillel's full package. We can't mix and match when they just don't jive with each other. So back to our story, the shchita that started up there and came down is certainly okay, according to all opinions. Again, either it's a makam shchita like Rav, so it's fine. Either it's not a makam shchita, so it's considered just an injury, but it's not a substantial injury, which qualifies as a treif according to Shmuel. Now, before we conclude, we're just going to pick at the sort of analyze the lashon of the brisa. Hoga for kasha. We just quoted a brisa, right? Which started by saying, Amris, we started Lo'olam halachah Beis Hillel. The accepted practice is to follow Beis Hillel. And then we sort of give you the choice. Well, the Tanya in the brisa continues, right to Lasa, it's up to you. Right to Lasa, the Beis Shammai, Yasa. You can go Beis Shammai, go Beis Hillel. I mean, if the halacha is like Beis Hillel, why are you doing Beis Shammai? Like Kasha answers like this. There were different stages in history. And that's what the Brisa is referring to. Kan koidem baskel, kan acha baskel. There was a famous heavenly voice that called out. This is in Erev and Daf Yud Gimel Beis. Rashi brings it here around 15 lines from the top. Yatsa baskel v'amra l'cha Beis Hillel. There was this ongoing, machlekes and Shammai Beis Hillel, and Baskel called out and said, l'cha like Beis Hillel. So after the Baskel made that announcement, we have no choice but follow Beis Hillel. That's our path. But koidem baskel, before that baskel, a person can pick and choose. Another way to explain the brisa, aflacha baskel. The brisa which gives us that option is even after the baskel. But Rabbi Yeshua, going like that shita, Dama who says ein mashkichem baskel. We, in terms of Gemara and halacha, we don't listen to the baskel, and we still have all options open. Okay, in any case, Makom kam kash. Clearly, this brisa does not allow adopting two contradictory chumras. So why did Rava forbid the animal? Omar of Tavus, so he says like this, I'll tell you what happened. Kula karav avda. It's not a contradiction at all. When he rendered that animal treifa, it was fully in line, it was fully consistent with Rav's shita. Because actually, there's another version of Rav's opinion, different than the earlier version. Kula karav avda, he followed totally Rav's shita, which is the Chiyasu Rambar Echesk. When he came, Omar, he says, let me give you the correct version of Rav's shita. Don't follow the formulas, the halachas, the kail Yehuda Achi that my brother packaged and presented Mishmei Rav in the name of Rav. Let me give you the right version. Rav held as follows: Veshet nosnu b'chacham shir. Regarding the veshet itself, the lower part of the veshet, the main section, not the turbas veshet, there's a shear, there's a parameter, there's a boundary. Up until what point you can do shchit. And what do we infer from here? That the turbas veshet, which is not the primary veshet area, is not kosher for shchita mechlal. That's the Bach has a gersa. Midika Amar Nosn by Chacham Shir. The fact that he's mentioning the boundary within the veshet indicates that only the veshet per se is kosher for shchita mechlal. Apparently, the turbas veshet, that upper area is not kosher for shchita. La makam shchita hu. So just the opposite. Rav does not allow shchita in turbas haveshet. V'kamar b'mashu. And still Rav maintains, although it's not a makam shchita, it still has the same status regarding the how it becomes a treifa. And just like by the primary veshet area, even a small hole, a neck of mashal makes it a treifa. The same with the turbas haveshet. It's one and the same regarding the treifa status. Okay, so the story where there was a shor that was shechted in this manner, the shechita started at the turbats and came into the veshet. He went like Rav. Turbats is not makam shechita, and even a small hole, small puncture, makes it a treifa, as he paskin. Okay, so in summation, we learned about the long list of yitches treifas that could be condensed into eight types. Hole, puncture, right? Cut, missing, right? We had a machlekes regarding the mara, which got a hole. We brought a raya from Eiv, which the Chachamim responded to by saying it's a nace, it's not a raya from there. We had a machlekes regarding the remnants of the liver, how much that has to be. We discussed two situations where we have double walls, kurkavan and the veshet, and the hole has to go through and through. There are two holes, not alongside each other. It was a machlekes. We concluded that by the veshet it's an issue because of all that movement, which will precipitate leakage, but not by the kurkavan. Examining the veshet can only be done from the inside for the to ensure there's no drusa there because of the color issue. Ula tells us to disregard a thorn that was sort of embedded in the inside of the veshet. We explained why it's different than the Asham Talui and the Safek Tuma. And we had a discussion regarding the turbas haveshet. We had two versions according to the final version. Rav held that's not a makam shchita, and the treif is even a mashu, as per the story. And we had an interesting brisa regarding consistency in matters of halacha. All the best to you and hatzlacha.